Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another Monday this and that video where I talk about all kinds of different topics, answering questions, leading you back to specific single topic videos, such as last week when I was talking about the dehydrated cabbage, and I did link in the description as promised to the dehydrating cabbage video, which also includes the various ways I use a dehydrated cabbage. So remember, whenever I mention videos in my this and that videos that I want to link you back to, always check that description box. I'm not saying I'll always remember, you may have to remind me, but you just click on more or show more somewhere down here below the video screen to open it all the way to find all those video links and anything else I put in there for you. So anyway, let's get to the topics of today. I want to start off with the 6-year-old dog food. It's kind of funny because last week it was the 5-year-old box milk, and now it's the 6-year-old dog food. I didn't plan it that way, it just happened. So I'll give you a little bit of backstory real quickly. Some of you know that our little Cody dog passed away several months back, and it's been really hard on us, by the way. But we still watch his sister Luna, who's my son's dog, and she's here several days a week while he's at work. What I've been doing is working through all the dog food that I had put up for Cody for her while she's here, and I'm getting to the bottom what I had stored here. So I had Patrick bring one of the buckets that I had stored up in 2020 of dog food so I could get it all used up with her. I was a little nervous, not sure how it was going to turn out, because at that time I decided to try just putting the dog food in the bucket with the Gamma Seal lid and just put it on really, really tight. And it is in a climate controlled area off site, but this was the first real test. But when I opened it up, I was very surprised and quite pleased at how fresh that dog food still was after sitting in storage for 6 years. There's a picture of it right here. And it smelled good. I didn't taste it, but the texture and the color looked good. And I did feed some to Luna, gave her a handful to see what she thought of it. She loved it. So it worked quite well without even having to use a Mylar bag. Now, the benefit of using a Mylar bag inside a bucket is that it just adds an added layer of protection, but no oxygen absorbers in there, by the way. And it also, the Mylar can help prevent the smell from reaching rodent noses who can chew through plastic buckets. So if you don't want to use Mylar, you can still keep your products in the packaging that came in. Like with Azure, all their stuff, most of their stuff comes in paper bags. And so I would take, in a lot of cases, I take the paper bag as is and I put it inside of a plastic bucket. But I could also do the same if it's an area where I know rodents could be an issue. I could instead take that same thing, put that bag inside of Mylar to help, keep it dry and everything, but not having to have the food touch the Mylar, because that can be a little bit concerning for some. And then put that inside a galvanized garbage can. So galvanized because it's not going to rust. And then the garbage can being metal means that rats and mice cannot chew through it. So with that said, by the way, about the Azure standard, I just picked up my recent order. And yes, I did get the evaporated milk. I just got 3 cans of each, but now I'm going to order a case of each of the organic evaporated milk and organic sweetened condensed milk, just to have it on hand for whatever I want to use it for. But this time I decided to try something new, and it's kind of funny because I don't use lentils much. I always tend to forget them, and I don't store them other than split peas. But I've never just bought lentils to try out. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to get a small bag of a few different types. So here are the red lentils, which are more of a kind of an orangey color, coral. And this is the Harvest Gold. And this here is just a standard green lentil. And this was my other question too, is I wondered what the difference was between green split peas and green lentils, because I'm like, aren't they the same thing? And I do see these are smaller and the color is a little bit different, not as vibrant as the split peas. And then I got these French green ones that are like a dark olive green. And other than tasting a couple of them just raw, you can actually crunch them up easy enough. Not like you can, not the same way you can with a dry bean. I haven't tried them yet, but I am going to be making a stew today, a beef barley lentil stew. And I haven't decided if I'm going to try to put a little of each in there or just try one at a time to see what I think about the different flavors and textures that they lend. So yeah, I decided to start with small bags. So these are all organic. Kind of anxious to give that a try and see which ones I like best. I really just kind of want to throw a little bit of each in there. So anyway, that's one of the new things I'm trying out. And another new one, though, I buy organic ground cloves and have for years, like from Frontier and Anthony's Goods. But I decided I'd try getting some from Azure Standard, even though I already have a lot in storage. I do go through a lot of ground cloves and whole cloves through the year, and it's not something that I grow. I'm not sure if we can grow those around here. And then I did get my second 2-pound bag of Brazil nuts, organic, that I'm going to be vacuum sealing up in jars today. I had the bag I got last month, and it filled about a little better than a jar and a half. And then I vacuum sealed both of those, and then I'm going to top off the one jar that was, still partly empty, and then fill another jar, vacuum seal those, so I'll have 3 full jars, and then whatever's remaining, I'll just put into the jar that I'm currently working through up here. So not only do I just love Brazil nuts for snacking, I don't just snack on them willy-nilly as much as I would love to. I actually use them also as a supplement for my selenium supplement. So getting it from one of the most natural sources I can, that and the eggs from my chickens. So I don't take selenium supplements. But anyway, yeah, you can, as I talked about many times, you can vacuum seal your nuts into jars as long as they hold their seal and you don't open them and forget about them. They will stay good. They will not go rancid for years to come. In fact, the jar I'm working through that's in the cabinet right now is one that I put up in 2022, and they're just as good as the day I put them in there. So they're already 4 years old, but they're not rancid. Nuts can go rancid within a year. I don't know for certain how long within that year, but I know they can go rancid within a year if they're not vacuum sealed into jars, specifically jars. So anyway, I've done a lot of videos on the vacuum sealing nuts and the kinds that I put up. I'll try to link to one of my most, and seeds too, recent ones in the description box down below. Which in fact, you should have just seen the short that I put in here that shows me vacuum sealing hazelnuts in a jar. I did that video mostly to show people how to vacuum seal using a brake bleeder pump that you can get from an automotive store and the Food Saver tops. That's mostly what I use. Oh, and very quickly, a few other things I did get in my order, which is just some common things. This time I got a case of the organic smoked cheddar. Really, really good. I used it to make some homemade hamburger mac and cheese using my dehydrated hamburger in that, by the way. And that all turned out really good. And let's see, I've been getting now the case of milk, of Organic Valley milk from them once a month. And usually every other month I'll get a case of the butter because that's going to be the best price. It's organic. I get whichever one is available because it switches up all the time. And they're all good, all the ones I've tried. I also usually every month get some kind of feed for the chickens. This time it was a bag of chicken barley and a bag of chicken wheat. What that means is it's simply unsorted. It can have bits of other grains in there. So it's all organic, it's all healthy for them, but it's cheaper in cost because it hasn't gone through the whole sorting. It might still have some chaff in there. The chickens don't care. It might even have a lentil or two that ends up in there somehow. No big deal. They love those too. So it saves a lot of money getting the stuff that's getting those than buying the stuff that's all sorted and clean. That's going to be a lot more expensive. So I buy that stuff for us and the rest of it in the chicken feed grains for the chickens. So those are just a few of the standard things. I'm sure I got something else that I'm forgetting to mention, but I do Now, because we have a drop point, I'm now able to get fresh produce from them too. I couldn't do that before when we didn't have a drop point and I had to order through the mail. So they don't ship through UPS or USPS. They do not ship any of the fresh produce or meats like that. So I was really thrilled to get this drop point so that I can now order the fresh things. And I have actually some red pepper plants growing, bell peppers, that from seeds I saved from the red bell peppers, organic of course, from Azure Standard. And those plants are growing so well. They look way better than my Chinese 5-color pepper plants do. And I'm sure it's because the pepper plants, the hot pepper plants tend to like a little more heat, and it hasn't been super warm here. But the red bell peppers seem to be happy. They're in the greenhouse right now. So we'll see how they do. I might move, since there's a lot of them, I might move 1 or 2 out soon to see how well they'll do in the open around here. I'm really curious because I would love to be able to grow finally my own sweet peppers. And with that said, I just want to remind everyone that when it comes to growing herbs, produce, and more, and you're really trying to get a garden in, don't feel pressured to grow things that don't do well in your area unless you really, really want those things. Like I'd really love to grow red bell peppers and have not had success in the past. And so I gave it up for a while and I'm trying again. But if they don't do well here because of our climate, I'm not going to keep trying and trying and trying when I could put my time and focus into things that do already do well here. And sometimes that's just the best and easiest way to do. What things just naturally grow well in your area? Apples do pretty good here. We have a couple of apple trees. There's a lot of berries that love it here. Currants, blackberries, raspberries, and more. I don't have to worry about those things. They grow well here. And so if that's where I have to put my focus and just keep maintaining those things, my grapes and so on, that is energy saved because there's not as much work that goes into it and I'm not stressing over it all the time. Other things that do well for us are zucchini. And then I've got a lot of medicinal herbs, some of them that just grow in the wild around here, such as yarrow, dandelion, plantain, self-heal, and more. And I don't even have to work to have them. In fact, the work that's involved is usually trying to thin them out a little bit because they do so well here. So anyway, that I just want to remind people, just because this person or this channel over here is growing in all these beautiful things or these exotic herbs and fruits, don't feel pressured into doing that because it may never do well for you and you're better off focusing on the things that will do well for you. So it's just a quick reminder. I'm going to be talking about this more in a video that will be publishing later on. And then another thing that goes along with just being more self-sufficient and preparedness is I recently had somebody who was posting something on one of my preparedness related videos about how, well, it's too late for new people to be stocking up now. And I just think how wrong it is for anyone to discourage anyone from trying to put up even one extra day's worth of food. It is not too late to do something. And again, this is another topic I'll be going more into depth in, but I want to get it out there right away, is that we need to always be encouraging people. We should never be saying anything that's going to discourage people from at least trying. Wouldn't we rather that everybody be in at least a little bit better position? Sure, money and time may not get them to 7 years worth of food storage in a short period of time. That's okay. If they even have a day, 2 days, a week's worth, and then from there build on that, get a couple of weeks worth, then a month. Start small, do what you can, because every little bit is at least something. And sometimes that little bit can be enough to get you through a short-term crisis. So don't give up. Don't listen to the naysayers that are trying to tell you it's too late. And don't be one of those people that's telling you it's too late and discouraging you from doing that. We should always be happy to see people wanting to get on board even if they can only put up $1 a week worth of food, of extra food. Everybody can do something. And sometimes it's a matter of changing our focus and maybe doing away with this luxury for a time so that we can take that money and put it towards food storage, water storage, and more. Oh, and then there's one more quick point I want to make, and that was coming back to the Nido milk. One more thing I didn't even think to say in last week's This and That, where I was talking about how I don't recommend it because of all the stuff they put in there, and then they market it to children. Well, how silly is it that there's these dried milk products out there where they strip all the fat out, they use non-fat milk, then they put fat back in an unhealthy form, in the form of soy and other types of vegetable oils that are not healthy. This is why it makes far more sense to either dehydrate it yourself or buy it and store it yourself. Some whole milk powder, and that's all that's in it. Whole milk powder. There's no need for added fats because the fat of the milk is still in there. There's no need for all these added synthetic vitamins and minerals when you're going to get what's already natural within the milk, and you can supplement in other ways from your own garden. Or I can't grow Brazil nuts, so I'm just doing this while I can. If I can't get those, at least I know I've got my own chicken's eggs for a selenium source. But, you know, as much as we can, getting it naturally and supplementing in other ways if we have to, by getting good quality capsules, but also knowing how to properly use them and when to use them. So that's kind of a side issue that I've talked about many times as well. But my point being about the milk is it's so silly to invest in something like that when it's far less healthy than just getting something that has nothing but whole milk powder, and that's it. Or you can make it yourself. You buy some whole milk, or you have sheep, goats, or cows, some kind of milk producing animal on your farm, dehydrate it yourself. And that's all that needs to be in there. You don't need to add a bunch of preservatives and all that junk, or put fat or put soy in there. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so again, everybody's got to do what they got to do and what fits into their pocketbook. This is just my suggestion, is stay away from that kind of stuff and just go for the just clean whole milk powder. And I say whole milk powder for a reason, not unless you have a specific need for the non-fat milk powder. I recommend storing the whole milk powder over any other kind. But that's just my personal recommendation. Again, everybody's got to do what's best for them and their diet, etc. So I hope you enjoyed my This and That for the week. And don't forget, I'll be linking to any videos down in the description box down below, such as the nuts and seeds and whatever else I may have mentioned that I probably already forgot. So don't forget to check that out and share your thoughts and ideas in the comments down below. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.